Welcome to today's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast, your channel for super easy, no-nonsense advice on how to declutter and organise your home. Please welcome your hosts, professional organisers Ingrid Jansen and Leslie Spellman. Hello and welcome listeners to episode 6 of the Declutter Hub podcast. I'm Ingrid.
And I'm Leslie.
If you have clutter and want to sort it out, this is the show for you. In today's episode, we're talking about how to curb your paperwork clutter and the critical steps that happen between your front door and your Intray. In one of the other podcasts, we've spoken about preventing junk mail coming through your door. But as mentioned, it might take a while before your efforts are rewarded. So today we will be discussing all the paperwork that lands on your doormat, comes in via school bags and work bags, and how to deal with all of this. If you have a stack of papers in your kitchen, your hallway, your living room, and on your desk, this is the episode for you.
I came back from holiday a couple of weeks ago, and it all came back to me how much paper actually comes through your door on a daily basis.
It's unbelievable.
I probably had a couple of weeks worth, and it's huge really. Even though I do take a lot of preventative steps to stop it from coming in, there's still a big build up, and so I think it'll be really helpful to our listeners today to run through some of the things and what do you do to get it from that kind of big pile that comes through to a kind of manageable pile. So it's that process from the doormat almost to, putting it in somewhere that you're going to action it at the end. So it's that process that we're talking about today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if you've got a sticker on your door, they still manage to put stuff through your door that you don't want. So let's talk it through today. So what was in your stack of paperwork that you found?
Well, there was the sort of stereotypical things that you get every week. There was the kind of charity bags with for things for donations. There was the kind of takeaway leaflets. You even get business cards in, so you now get individuals, I think, rather than doing leaflet drops, just putting business cards through your post box. But I mean, who actually looks at those? I know as a business owner, apparently there's only 1%. You get a 1%. Success rate with leaflet drops and business cards. So that just tells you how many people. There's 99% of people not looking at them at all. And so what we need to make sure is that we just get rid of it straight. If we're not going to look at it ever, let's just get rid of it straight away.
Yeah, but seriously, I mean, if I get a leaflet or a business card through my door, it would never occur to me to actually call these people. So I can imagine the success rate is only 1%, because I would go to a Facebook group or ask my friends to make a recommendation, or maybe Google it on and use it online to find out the right person for me. But yes, indeed, you're right. All these things end up through our mailbox. But so for me, it's a simple thing. Immediately goes into recycling.
I don't even look at what's on it.
I know. Me neither.
So there was a lot of that kind of stuff as well, just the standard things, and it's kind of what do we do with that? So that was part of it. And then, so what do we do with that? We just literally take it. What would you do when you first come in with that junk mail? Where would you take it?
I would, if I come in through the front door, I pick up my post, I straight away walk to my recycling bin, and I take out everything that I know I don't want. You know what? I got through my door the other day, a Yellow Pages guide. I was like, wow, do these still exist? So I know I never look up a number in a Yellow Pages or a Thomson directory or a phone book. So I do everything online. So that went straight into the recycling bin. Also, leaflets from pizza delivery places or takeaway shops go straight into the recycling bin. So for me, that doesn't even make it to my desk or to anywhere that I want to sort paperwork at all. Yeah,
I think the phone directory, it's just somehow, I'm not saying that nobody uses them, because they obviously do, otherwise they wouldn't still produce them.
Yeah.
But you can tell just by the size of them now, they're tiny compared to what they used to be. So I think we've changed the way that we devour and look for information, and I think, and sometimes with clients, we have to get that across. We're still sort of stuck in the olden times where we keep the paper-based copy of it as well. But actually what we do for the most part, we go straight onto Google and hope that it comes up on the first page, what we're looking for. Or as you say, look at Facebook groups and community groups and things like that. So we look at information in a completely different way, but somehow a lot of people are still clinging on to that paper-based copy, and we just don't need to, so it just needs to go.
Yeah.
You know, what else there was loads and loads of free newspapers. Well, I quite like my free newspapers. If there's one newspaper that I do read, it's the free one. I sort of keep it. So I kind of do keep that on my kitchen surface and I mull over it over breakfast. What about you? Do you read the free, they're like the local newspapers?
You know what? I think I live in an area where they don't deliver them anymore.
Oh,
so
really?
actually, I would want one, but I don't get any. So maybe that's lucky. I don't
It's like
know.
if you like the gossip, I think. I think it gives you the gossip, the local gossip. And so I always, flick through it. Most of them are houses, aren't they, for sale and things like that. But yeah, free newspapers I will keep, but only until I've read them, and I keep them on my kitchen surface with a very sort of definitive idea of reading them over breakfast.
So you have a cup of tea
day.
at breakfast, and then you flick through it, and then you immediately recycle it straight away.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. So free
That makes
newspapers,
sense.
but they form quite a big part of the paper clutter that's coming in, though. To be fair,
Yeah. I think we also get quite regularly these requests for charity and letters to support a charity and to make donations. Now, I don't know about you, but I have my specific charities that I support. So if I get a letter from a random charity, I recycle it because I have my things that I support and I donate to, either in time or in money. So what do you do with all the letters that come in?
Well, even if a request comes in from a charity that I already subscribe to, I'd like for the decision to upgrade or donate a higher amount to be mine, and for me to make that decision. So I am quite kind of, no, I'm not going to do that now, and so that would go straight into the bin as well. You've got plenty of opportunities these days to donate to charity, and I like to donate to the charities that I want to do, but I'm not going to be beholden to somebody else's marketing material, I think. Yeah. So, it depends on the way that you view charities, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It can be quite different, really, for different people. So
yeah, I think I think that's all the stuff that comes through your door. I find this all quite easy, but then you've got all the posts you've actually have to do something with. Now, I don't know how about you, but I've worked with clients and they keep their important documents that they actually have to keep in their envelopes.
I know.
Well, for me,
absolutely.
The first thing I do is when I get post in, I take it out of the envelope, and the envelope either goes into recycling if it doesn't have an address on it, and if it has an address on it, it goes into my shredding box. I don't know, why do people keep envelopes? I'm confused about this, actually. I don't know why.
I know. I see that all the time as well. And that's really bulky as well, if you keep everything in envelopes. But I think what people keep more of, they keep envelopes, but they don't use staplers. And so I think sometimes the envelope is to keep things together. And I can understand that. But equally, it's much more efficient then to use a stapler or a paper clip or something like that to keep things together.
Yeah.
So that, I'll write on things. A lot of people like to write on the envelopes when things have come in, but that's normally on the letter anyway. But those envelopes are bulking things up massively.
Definitely.
And so they definitely need to go in the recycling.
And I think the same thing for me as well is that envelopes take out the visibility of what it is.
Exactly, yeah.
So for me, I think it's very important to immediately take it out of the envelope. And I'm with you about stapling. I'm actually love stapling stuff together because 3 or 4 loose papers that can go 3 or 4 different directions suddenly stay as one. So it's much better to have the sequence of paperwork then all together. And I agree with you. You see what it is. So it's much easier to decide what actually needs to happen with this piece of paperwork. So I would recommend definitely our listeners to take stuff out of envelopes, staple paperwork together, and recycle the envelopes or shred the envelopes, depending on what your preference is.
And if people do want that sort of envelope situation, that envelope scenario, we'll cover that later when we're actually filing stuff, and then we can put them in things into clear folders and things like that, so you've got that visibility and keeping things together as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned before about shredding things with your address on. Do you want to touch on that a little bit more? Because I think you and I do different things.
Yeah.
And so my take on... I've never shredded anything with just my address on. So because I believe then that my address can be found very easily online or whatever, quick Google search of my name. It'll show exactly where I live, my business address, and etc. So I don't do that, but I do obviously shred things with sensitive data. And when I'm working with clients, then it's very much, I leave it up to them. What do they normally do? And then we'll follow that pattern. So what do you do?
Well, I've actually kind of taken almost one size fits all. I just take everything off that has an address.
Okay.
So I shred, and I also shred receipts actually, and little receipts that you get when you go to your local supermarket and buy some groceries. I also put it in my shredding box. But I just think if a letter comes in with my address, I just tear the little corner off with my address, and I just don't have to think about it. So I don't have to make the decision, is this sensitive information or not? And I just tear the little corner off with my address, and then it's done.
Yeah.
So, or when I get a card in an envelope which has my address and my name and maybe even my first letters, then immediately the envelope goes into shredding and not into recycling.
Right. Okay.
But like you, if I work with clients, I let them decide what they feel comfortable with.
I think it's just another example of there's not a one size fits all in the decluttering world.
Yeah.
And it's all about your level of comfort zone and where you feel most comfortable. So, but there are people who don't like to shred anything.
Yeah.
And so my advice would be to kind of, rein it in a little bit if they can, because it is sensitive information that does need to be dealt with.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. If you don't do any shredding at all, please listen to our advice and go and at least shred your sensitive information. And if you don't even have a shredder at home at the moment, invest a little bit more than £25 or £30, buy a little bit of a better shredder, maybe spend about £70 or £75 on it, and that will really be worth your while and make shredding much easier for you to do.
Because shredders are a nightmare.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
So cheap shredders are kind of the bane of my life.
Yeah.
And then we're shredding a lot. But I just thought it was interesting to talk about that. And what about plastic? We talked about envelopes. What about plastic envelopes as well, like the window envelopes?
Well, I think in my area, I can recycle them with the little plastic envelope in the, I don't know how you call it, but envelopes with a window.
Yeah, I think they're called window envelopes.
Check with your local recycling center and make sure that it is something that you can put in your recycling bin, because I know per council it's different.
Oh, I mean, in Manchester, I work across 5 or 6 county councils, and every single one of them is different in terms of what they'll take into recycling. So it is, it's a minefield really, and you just have to know for yourself really. But you can check all that online at the sort of council's website and so on. But I think it's useful because sometimes, you might be able to recycle and people are throwing things away, into the trash that they could be recycling. So I think that's important as well.
And, what I also wanted to talk about, another option, if you really don't like shredding or don't want to shred, but you do want to take out some of your addresses, you've got these ink roller stamps.
Oh, yeah.
And or you've even got, I think, shredding scissors. You can buy them as well. But I really like the ink roller stamps, not necessarily for paper, but especially for boxes that come in from deliveries. Or, for example, you get an Amazon box and you really don't want to try and get that little sticker off that box. That's so annoying. So you've got these little ink rollers and you can buy them online and you can just roll out your address.
And it kind of covers it up, doesn't it? And puts confidential over it or something like that, or copy or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're really useful. Definitely for the boxes and for the jiffy bags.
Yeah, especially for the jiffy bags.
I'm always wrecking my nails trying to do mine, and you're obviously using your ink roller. So that's what I need to do.
Okay. We've talked about envelopes and shredding and things like that, but I also want to talk to you about terms and conditions.
All right.
I mean, it's like, why did they get... No, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever read any terms and conditions that I've got. I know I should, but who reads those booklets full of terms and conditions?
Well, there's the booklets of terms and conditions, and we were talking before about stapling things together. So if you've got a credit card statement now and you want to keep the paper copy, there might be 8 pages, and probably 4 of those pages are going to be some kind of terms and conditions that you really are never going to read. You probably think that you ought to keep them, and so people keep them because they think they ought to. But actually, if you're never going to read them, just get rid of them. And actually, if you really want to, you'll be able to go back to the bank and request them or find out. It's probably not going to make any difference to terms and conditions to you anyway. But, so just think about that, because people are keeping unnecessarily an 8-page bank statement or credit card statement when actually they could get away with 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah, or those frequently asked questions that you that you get with every stack. There's like a 3 page of frequently asked questions, and you're like, why do you keep sending me this every time?
Yeah.
And I that goes into either the recycling or the shredding straight away as well.
Yeah, when you get insurance, like new insurance, that's the worst. You get literally like 10 different leaflets about different things, don't you?
Yeah.
Payment guidelines and direct debit guarantee, everything's on there.
I know.
So we don't really need all those. So just best to just get rid of them at source. So before they even end up in your in-tray.
Yeah. And I think also another way of letters to come in is letters with information. And it can be a letter from work, it can be a letter from school, from the kids. Normally you only need to have the date that's on there. So if you can put that in your diary or on your calendar, you don't need that paper letter anymore. So if it's non-sensitive information, you can go into recycling straight away as well.
Yeah, just the ones where it's just for information only, but it's not actually got any actions on there. Is that the kind of thing that you're talking about?
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Because they've got to tell you it.
Yeah. Write down the date. Piece of paper can be recycled or shredded.
Okay.
And thus already eliminating things that end up in your to-do or your to-file tray.
Yeah.
So now we've talked about all the papers that come through that are basically junk mail as well, and that we've kind of sorted out. But there's also paperwork that comes in that we actually have to do something with.
Yeah.
And you've got your paperwork that you take out of the envelope and you're like, okay, this is important. I need to keep this. I want to file it. Then make sure you put it into file tray. And if you get a paper in that you need to take an action on, it needs to go in your to-do tray. The action can be, I need to make a phone call, or I need to send an email, or I need to fill out a form, or I need to go to an online page and type something in. There is some sort of action that needs to do. My file tray is actually with my paperwork filing system, and it's actually upstairs. And my to-do tray is on my desk next to my computer in my living room. So how about you?
Well, I've got a home office, which is great, so I can put everything, but I literally do that from the doormat, do my recycling, sort out all the junk mail into the recycling box, and then I'll put everything into my Intray next to my computer to deal with probably once a week, unless it's a really quick action.
Yeah.
There's not many things that need to be done within a week, but one of the things that does need to be done more quickly is often school letters.
Yeah.
So they often want responses within a couple of days, and so those are the things that you need to get onto a little bit sooner. But in general, paperwork needs to be dealt with once a week, or maybe sometimes even once a fortnight, particularly now that most things tend to be online as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you've got if your task, your to-do is a small, quick task, see if you can do it as soon as possible and not leave it for it to build up. But if you're start to get on top of your paperwork, once a week should be enough to spend some time on your inbox and do a couple of tasks in a row.
Then it's kind of a 20-minute, 25-minute job.
Instead of this massive job, definitely. Well, I really enjoyed chatting to you about paperwork and all the paperwork clutter and what happens between your door and your in-tray. So listeners, that's it for this episode. We hope you've all enjoyed listening and are inspired to take action. Maybe think about the processes you have in place or you don't have in place just yet. Can you open your mail next to your recycling bin? Is there a box for papers if you want to do some shredding? Do you need to create a place for paperwork that needs filing or a tray for things that need to action? Taking these small steps will benefit you on a daily basis and prevent paperwork from piling up everywhere. So thanks for taking the time to listen today. If you'd like to get more tips and advice, follow us on social media. And if you don't want to miss the next episode, subscribe to the Declutter Hub podcast. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast. Check out declutterhub.com for more inspiration, and don't forget to tune in next week.